I know so many, incredible producers who are starting out who are just like, it's not the perfect one yet. I'm like, if you never release this one, you're never going to drop the second one. You're never going to have the third one.
For sure.
Off-white jeans, I feel brand new. Throwing some queens, I just lead by example. Gold medals on my neck, Kurt Angle. I'm a big boss, really nothing I can't handle.
Support for the B Team podcast today is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in the business for your balls, Your balls.
Mine are, yeah.
Manscaped.
Because of Manscaped. Squeaky clean.
Hey,
yes.
the performance package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Over 7 million men worldwide trust Manscaped.
Oh my gosh.
And we have a deal for you. 20% off with code BTEAM at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, Manscaped's helped about 14 million balls. That's a lot of balls.
That's 2 balls per person.
That's a lot of balls, Robert. That's a lot of balls.
And 2 of those are mine. I will say I use them.
It's too much information, Robert.
My balls are clean, man. Go get it. Go get it. It'll help you out. I know you got some stuff to do over this weekend, so go help yourself out. You know what I mean?
Manscaped.
And if you got a beard like these 2 gentlemen over here, go get you a little beard hedger. You know what I mean? If you got nose hairs like him, go get you a little weed whacker. And stop playing. Stop playing with your hygiene, y'all. B-Team at manscaped.com. Get you 20% off and free shipping. Back to the pod.
Do I really got nose hairs like that?
All
Back
right.
and better. Back
Feeling
and
good.
better. Welcome back, guys. This is what, episode 7? 6?
It's got to be like 7.
This got to be episode 7. Lucky number 7. Welcome back to episode 7 of the B Team podcast. We're back with the usuals. We got Boozy over here. We got Rob over here. You know, it's the boy Ronick, and we got another guest over here. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce
Very
yourself.
special guest. The well-acclaimed, you know what I mean? Forbes
Thank you,
featured.
Thank you.
Forbes featured.
Thank you.
World traveler.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Middle school C-team basketball
That's
star.
true. Yeah, we all go way back.
High school choir star.
Latino legend.
Martin Nguyen.
Martin Muse.
Also known as Muse.
World-renowned DJ.
With a V.
Producer. Yeah, go ahead and tell them about yourself, Martin.
Yeah, I mean that's it's definitely quite the intro. But yeah, basically go by Martin. My artist career go by Muse with a V, spelled MVSE. Yeah, I guess know these guys through middle school, high school, like way back, and yeah, I guess let's kick it off.
Oh yeah.
No, well, yeah. I mean, you touched on it yourself. So you're pretty much living like the modern day, if I'm not mistaken, version of being successful with like an artistic outlet while also having a balanced career. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think that so yes, I guess from backstory, my 9 to 5 Monday through Friday is working in tech like everyone else in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I have an artist career. DJing as Muse, making music as Muse, and traveling if I'm lucky enough that weekend. I think perceptively, definitely like very dreamlike. You get to grind it out, have fun on the weekends, but in a lot of ways, it's also like you have 2 jobs too.
For sure.
You're working. I think the hardest part during the pandemic was like you couldn't go anywhere. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're sitting at the same desk, and then after that, you're sitting at the same desk again, working on music, and you're just like, bro, just like get me away from this room.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, like, if you're the way that you just described it, what do you use for inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. I think like my background, I've always been very music involved, just like growing up. So like was involved with music my entire life. My mom was in music. Did a lot of music growing up. Played piano. I was in band in middle school. Was super involved with music in high school.
Say what it was in high school.
Yeah,
we all had a class together
That's
in high
fair.
school.
Yeah, we were all in men's choir together. I mean, okay.
Allegedly.
Okay, I'm gonna say
Some of
right
us
now,
were backups, and some of us were
back then,
stars.
that was
Some of us were in the back with the homies, chilling, throwing up, just videos in the middle of the
All right,
choir
for
performances.
all you motherfuckers out
And
there,
then
don't
some
think that
people
was
were
sick.
baritones.
Back in Cupertino, choir was sick.
Hey, no, it was popping.
It was popping.
If you were in choir at Cupertino,
I'm not even lying. It was popping.
It's very hard to describe to anyone else in the world because it's usually not.
you'll hear
I mean,
the
I'm
choir.
trying to
You'll hear a
understand.
choir be
We
like,
get it.
"Oh, you were a choir boy," but it was like, honestly, that's kind of
Like
sad
all
for
the boys
Cupertino.
were in choir.
Well, actually,
all the
that,
boys were in
as
choir.
much as we're describing it, it's also like a look of like inflection too. It's like damn, Cupertino was not fun.
No, I mean like no.
Objective.
What it was though is that we had to either choose between theater and choir.
Oh,
yeah.
those were your two like
we had to
performing
choose
arts.
one of those.
You had to choose.
So like we weren't trying to be theater kids. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, nothing wrong with that though. There's nothing wrong with being a theater kid. I think it was just more so like, what was his name? What was the choir?
Mr. Aaron.
Mr. Aaron.
Dude,
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
He was
He was
a
funny.
homie. He had a like, if you hit his bullshit meter, then like you're on his shit list and you don't
Really?
want to be on that. But it was hard to get. Like
But,
you
like,
had a lot of
I
slack.
mean, let's be clear. It wasn't like 20 dudes. It was like 100 fucking dudes.
Yeah.
It was like, it was 100 guys.
way sicker.
Yeah, it was like 100
Way
There
dudes.
was
more
probably, no,
dudes.
there was a women's choir too. There's a girls' choir.
There's like 4 women's
Separate
choirs,
classes.
Right? Yeah,
separate class
class.
for sure.
So it was
Yeah,
all
so-
dudes.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
all dudes singing together.
How are they as singers?
Well, you didn't have to be good at singing because like there's enough dudes to drown you out.
Yeah.
So like,
Did you
me and
hear?
Ronnie were in the back.
Did you hear Boozy? Did you hear Boozy's question?
What?
Yeah, ask Martin, like, how are these two as singers? Because I know, obviously, you're incredibly talented. I know they're not.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a singer.
I was
Like,
hitting them
first and
high
foremost,
notes.
I'm definitely not a singer.
Yeah.
Martin's definitely an above average singer.
Yeah, I'd say I'm above average.
Yeah.
I'd say like most of us enjoy singing. Most people enjoy singing.
There was
Like,
advanced choir though.
No, I
Like
mean,
there was advanced choir, and Martin was right. If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, yeah,
Martin was
they're-
very much like
Yeah, we
it was
didn't
pretty
make the
much like they're
cut.
like, hey, here are these weak ass singers, and it was like beginning choir, and it was like us, and like we're in Hawaiian shirts doing like a Beach Boys themed concert, and Rob wasn't even in choir that year. Rob snuck up from the crowd.
What?
Just yes.
Wait,
bro.
actually?
We had all the Rob wasn't in
Literally
that
all the
semester.
homies were in that class.
Yeah, and
bro.
Rob took it before, and he's like, "Fuck, all my boys are in it." But Rob would just pull up,
I believe
and
that.
we're all on stage during the real recital. Like everyone's parents are there, like the theater's packed out or whatever, and we're all in our Hawaiian shirts doing Beach Boys. And Rob just we told him to do it. He just stood next to me and one of my other homies, and he's just wearing a Hawaiian shirt, does not know any of the lyrics to the song, and it's just like fucking
hella funny.
fake lip reading everything.
Watermelon,
But the
watermelon,
best
No,
is,
they
watermelon.
sang the same songs as they did the previous year. Because I was in the class, like I was in the year before
Well,
you guys
point
were.
being, Mr. Aaron, he was also our like conductor during it too. So he halfway through, I will always remember him like looking over and like giving us instructions, and then noticing that Robert's up there. And first of all, hats off to him because like in the middle of it, to like Martin said, a shit
100
ton of
dudes.
dudes in
Yeah.
there to
100
notice
dudes.
like this motherfucker is not in my class. Like to be like what, and then to like keep going. He's like, what are you doing? He's like.
So what happened after that?
Nothing. I don't think
nothing.
anything
There was
happened.
literally
I mean, like,
there was
I didn't
said, choir
I didn't
was
cause a scene or anything.
So
like, I
you,
didn't.
but you just stayed till the end.
Yeah, I just performed with the
That's
bros.
pretty
bro.
badass.
random parents were coming up to Robert like, amazing job.
Great job, great job. I'm like, thank you.
He's like, thank you. Rehearsals were crazy.
But point being, it was sick shit.
Okay.
Back in the day, it was sick shit.
yeah, it was popping.
So
Choir
sick
was
that Martin
low-key
took
popping.
advanced choir. You were a baritone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a choir nerd, but I'm gonna be real. Like doing music stuff at Cupertino, you got to travel. I got to go to Hawaii. I got to go to Vancouver.
We did not.
Y'all went what?
I went to Hawaii.
bro,
Yeah,
they used to-
Damn.
that advanced choir was popping.
Okay,
because we couldn't
let me
sing like
just
that?
tell
Because
you,
we couldn't hit them
there
high
was
notes.
definitely a moment in Hawaii where like we sneak off, find weed somewhere, and like this is the most bro moment, right? We're
Yeah.
in my hotel room, just like clearly like just like lit out of my minds. Like, we all hear knocking at the hotel room. We're like, oh fuck. We open the door. It's Mr. Aaron. He's just looking. He's like, leaves. And we're like, oh, we're so fucked. So fucked. Comes back 20 minutes later with pizza. Just drops it off. And I'm just like, this guy could have easily. I mean, it was my senior year too. This guy
Yeah.
easily could have like been like,
Fuck
yo,
shit.
That's blessed.
like get the fuck home.
Oh, he was one of
you
the
know,
most like patient,
expelled.
Yeah.
College rescinded everything. He just like drops off pizza. I look back and he's like, I wonder if he knew. Of course he knew.
Yeah, he had to have
Of course he knew.
He had to have
Of course he
known.
knew.
He's like been there, done that. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
That's sick.
What would you say? So choir, for example, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you've always been like very like musically gifted as well. Like I know you've always played the piano and other instruments as well. Remember you had your classic Cupertino fuckboy ukulele phase as well. Just like everyone
Yeah.
else did.
Hey, to be fair, everyone did. But
everyone-
yes,
just
but
like everyone
I
else.
had a major one.
yeah,
I'm not
the,
gonna lie.
ukulele was popping on
Yeah.
Tumblr.
But like
bro.
that's
The
Martin was
Filipino
a big
face.
Tumblr guy. Martin was a big Tumblr
That's
guy.
true. That's true. I was big on Tumblr.
It was like the chill
Um,
like Nuju like music.
Yeah, it was like the whole
Jabez.
era of like everyone was on YouTube making covers and everyone was on Tumblr like
Yeah.
simping out to the covers they made.
100%. But would you say
Yeah.
so? Like some of that stuff now, where like you look back, like for example, we look back on like some of those things, like I can't believe we did that. But like your career, like half your other career is like very much like has to do with a very similar field. Do you look back on some of those memories and you're like, fuck, this is because we look back on it being that it has nothing to do with our lives
Yeah.
now, and that we are not musically talented whatsoever. But Rob's got a couple tracks.
He's
out
got
there.
some
No, I
banger.
don't. No, I don't.
Rob
Or
Dollar.
some of the
Don't
worst,
find them.
some of the worst some of the worst bars you'll ever hear in music history. But we look back on that, we're like, oh, that's crazy. Do you
Yeah.
look back on some of those like similar and like obviously more enhanced moments that you've had like that and be like, damn, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely attributed to music in my career, like in some way. Like, I don't necessarily think like making YouTube covers on Tumblr like made me a DJ.
Yeah.
You know, I can walk through my music career.
That'd be
I
awesome,
guess like
yeah.
Yeah.
like growing up, I feel like I was like same as every Asian kid. You know, forced to play piano
Mhm.
to some degree, and then you just fucking hate it. And then I quit, came back to on my own terms, and then it was really funny because I remember growing up, like my parents would always force me to like play music just like every other Asian kid. And the moment I was like, you know what, I want to be a musician, they're like, what the fuck, bro? Like, why would you do that? You know, get to college, do X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. It's ironic. So then I went to
That is hella ironic. Yeah.
it is. So I went to USC and then actually picked up a jazz piano minor there. And like this is, you know, before EDM producing or anything. I had a good time, and then I think like one semester in, they like changed the entire curriculum so that like it'd be 2 night classes every single year, every single semester. And then I was just like, nah, fuck that. So I canceled it. And then like here's my inspiring story about how I got into music production. I get called in my senior year of college, and my counselor was like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like senior year is gonna be fucking lit." She's like, "You're graduating this semester," and I was like, "No, I'm not. Like what the fuck?" And then basically was like, you know, what can I do to stay? And she was like, well, like I see you had a jazz piano minor, and we just started a music production minor this semester, and your credits transferred. Like, are you interested? I'm like,
Damn.
fucking sign me
Yes.
up.
Was that the Dr. Dre School of Music program?
No,
thing?
that was Thornton, but they did start that year too. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I stayed because I wanted to party. Like, because I mean, at SC,
Because you transferred too, right?
so I went in sophomore year.
Hell yeah.
And then basically, you know, fall semester is football season. Spring semester is Coachella, Vegas, fucking Cabo. And so you're not going to miss that. You visited a couple
Yeah,
times.
I
We had some
pulled
good
up.
times at SC.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
visited.
I pulled up.
And so yeah, basically it was just like, you know what, I'm not graduating. And then I picked up that minor. And then, looking back, not that I didn't learn much, but like I was more, you know, obsessed with just taking the class to like party.
Yeah.
And like if I took those classes today, knowing what I know now, I'd probably get a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful because like it's definitely like got me exposed into, you know, music production. You know, I never went to a single rave in college, wasn't even into EDM. So I'd consider myself definitely a late bloomer kind of in that regard. But yeah, thankful that like that was what got me into it and kind of propelled my DJ music career.
What do they teach you?
Why did you stick with it if you did it because you felt like you wanted to stay at school longer? Like, why did you stay with it after graduation?
That's true, yeah. So I think that like, I think starting DJing and producing are very different things, right? Like people kind of synonymize it these days, but like DJing is like, you know, playing, curating music, and producing is a whole nother different beast.
Yeah.
You know, I know people who are great at either or, and there's people, you know, who are great at both. I think so. How I got into DJing, I was DJing frat parties back in the day. Like I'm sure I was
Your own as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure I was the same as everyone else. Like everyone wanted to be the next Kygo. Like everyone like thought they were going to be a tropical house DJ. Got into DJing at some point in college back then. So that's how I got into it. And then music production wise, I think afterwards, I kind of just stuck with it. You know, I really wanted to find something when I started working outside of work to like keep me sane. And at the time, like I was still, you know, had the Muse name, but had no catalog, no music. And honestly, I just kind of stuck with it, you know, every single year, slowly growing. And I'd say, you know, people always ask, like, how are you doing both today? Because you see kind of where I am with my professional career, but also like my music career, right? It's like, bro, I didn't start this shit yesterday.
Yeah,
like,
it's a slow grind, bro.
It's been really slow, but I also have a team, like, on both sides now. People working under me on one side, I have a team on the music side. Like, it's not a solo project anymore.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
You're on a record label, yeah?
So I'm not signed to a specific record label. And I think it's a little bit different how EDM works. So like for EDM, like let's just say talking major labels, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, for rap, hip hop, pop, how it works is they find talent, you know, sign them a blank check and basically be like, give us 2 albums or whatever. So with EDM, there's a really cool kind of new wave happening where you can just sign a single record to a label and then have that partnership. And if it works out, obviously they want you to come back. And if not, you know, you can cut ties and just go to someone else. So it's super flexible.
I guess like on the topic of flexibility, I'm
Yeah.
super curious about this topic because like I have friends that are like in the music industry, and obviously not as deep in the game as you are, but do you feel like working with like that type of entity affects your creative ability and like when you want to drop, like does it have any effect on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a business side to music,
Yeah.
right? And like that's actually something that I nerd out like super hard about, and I know like that's not most artists. Like that's why artist managers exist, right?
Mhm.
Like managers exist.
Self-managed?
I'm not self-managed. No,
Oh, he has a
I
manager.
have a manager.
Okay, cool.
His name is Julian. Yeah, so I'm not self-managed, but like he managed a lot of other artists, and I help him with that. Like I nerd out hard about this shit. Like anytime I read articles, like tell you fun. I guess I'll spit some fun facts.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like
Yeah, for sure.
a couple of years ago, you guess who Scooter Braun is?
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
Justin
So, like-
Bieber's old dude.
So
Yeah.
how his claim to fame is
Yeah.
he discovered Justin Bieber,
Yeah.
right? But this guy's a fucking shark. Like he owns so much of the music industry. So he also manages Ariana Grande, Dan Lachey,
Yeah.
Demi Lovato, Quavo.
He just bought
Like-
Taylor Swift's catalog too,
So
right?
He owns all of his catalogs,
Yeah.
and then it's funny because a couple years ago he bought this Korean entertainment company called Hybe, and Hybe like last month acquired Quality Control, which owns
QC,
Migos,
yeah.
like all of them.
Yeah.
And it's funny
saw
because
that.
like on the news it was like, oh yeah, Korean company buys hip hop catalog, and it's like it's this fucking motherfucker, Scooter Braun.
Fucking Scooter
Yeah.
Braun.
And then like there's like they basically now run all of like hip hop in America, pop in America, and K-pop in like Korea.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
And it's
Jesus
insane. Like
Those checks are clearing for
it's
Scooter Braun.
insane. So
yeah.
there's this new. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware of like K-pop. There's this really new group called New Jeans. It's a bunch of girls. But basically, have you guys heard of Blackpink?
Yeah,
They're like
yeah,
opposite.
yeah.
They're headlining
I know
Coachella,
Blackpink,
right?
yeah.
They went from
100%.
0 to like 5,000 overnight.
Mhm.
New Jeans came out like 2 months ago. First song ever. Have already passed Blackpink in like monthly listeners.
That's wow.
Just like
What?
2 months of existing.
They just
Because
got
they
the
have
crazy
backing,
push.
though. It's the backing,
Is
isn't
it the backing or like?
I
how?
mean, it's
Are they
the
just
team behind
bad?
it.
Yeah.
No,
Are
they're
they
solid. Like it's
also
super
like
catchy.
the
No,
Surge,
are they
the
like?
Sur-
Are the chicks bad?
I mean, one's 14, so
Oh,
I'm not going
that's
to comment
crazy.
on that. I'm just gonna.
Don't look at me. Look that way. Look over
So I'm
there.
not.
As I said,
I
this
rescind
man
my
stays
question.
telling on himself.
yeah. But I mean, if you
You know
guys
what's crazy?
listen
He
to the
probably still wants an answer.
I'd like you to tell me. I'm curious.
They're not all 14, right?
No, the youngest one's 14. I don't know the age range, but I know there's a 14-year-old. No, you're right.
How are you still curious?
So it's like the Jackson 5. You know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the Jackson 5
exactly.
back in the day. It's Korean and women.
Shut up, bro.
But yeah, I mean,
Keep
if
going,
you guys
bro.
like, they've got like maybe 5 songs out, and like I'm positive, like if you've been on like TikTok or Instagram, you've heard their songs. The fact that 2 months in of like just like existing,
That's
they're like
crazy.
past Blackpink, who by the way is now head kind of Coachella.
Dude, like the collaborations with anything in general with like K-pop is like crazy. Like Ice Spice, for example, just like
Yeah.
remixed that song with Blackpink, and it's like you can't escape.
No, it's not
that-
Blackpink. It was like Black Panther.
Oh, it was like-
it's not Blackpink.
It was
I'm
Pink
sorry.
Panthers.
Pink
yeah,
Panthers.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
mistaken.
it's not the same thing.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
K-pop at all.
No, it's
I don't
not.
think so.
It's not. That's just like,
No.
But Blackpink's with Cardi B
Whatever,
though.
bro. You
Yeah.
thought she was 14.
What?
Blackpink had a Cardi B song like in
Yeah.
their last album.
Even
So
like
they
if
got a
you
lot
look
of
at like
collabs.
the influence of K-pop, like on like a
It's
completely
global.
different scale, like
It's insane.
fan voting for
They're
the NBA,
huge.
fan
It's
voting for the
insane.
NBA for
Yeah,
All-Star
yeah.
Game. Andrew Wiggins got like co-signed by someone that was like super famous in the K-pop scene, and he was like, "Vote for Andrew Wiggins."
Yeah.
He's voted into the All-Star starters for his first ever like All-Star game, and like he had like a good year, but definitely not good enough to like be a starter for the All-Star game last year. But like that's just like examples.
And
of-
like they're
like,
they're a fucking cult.
That's
too.
why
Like,
you
the
say,
K-pop
like-
people.
It's
They're
crazy.
they're like
It's insane.
Swifties, but
Yeah.
like
Yes.
way harder.
Yeah.
Crazier.
Like, way harder.
On the topic of like you coming up, like how did you come up with your name?
I was just about to ask that.
It's a good
Yeah.
question. I
think I've
mean,
never asked you that.
it's definitely not SEO friendly. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I didn't think about that when I started. I think I was just super infatuated with like Greek and Roman like mythology growing up,
Mhm.
and so like the muses are like the arts and like music, like goddesses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then back then it was just hip to like put like a syllable, a
Yeah,
consonant
yeah,
where a
yeah,
vowel
yeah.
is kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I did that. I mean, looking back, like I probably would have done something different just to be more SEO friendly.
What would the 2023 more? If you were to just start today, what's that new name?
I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I'd
Muse
say, like,
with a U.
back in the day in college, I had a nickname just like Martin Maybach. Like that was kind of a thing.
Wasn't that your Instagram name for a while?
It was for a long
It
time.
was something-
It's Martin
I think it
Muse
was.
now. And
I remember I saw
don't
that, I
really
was
know,
like,
how it came about, but like that was just a thing in college. So maybe that would have been pretty
Yeah.
sick.
That's hard.
Martin Maybach.
Yeah.
I feel like Maybach Martin goes even harder.
Maybach Martin. Yeah.
Maybach music. Well, that's crazy though. I mean, we were just talking about like Ice Spice on like Pink Panthers and like features like that. Do you have like right now? I know you've already had like a lot of success and like a lot of like exposure, obviously with the name, with like your music.
We're still coming up, man. Still coming up.
100%. 100. I mean, obviously, like right now, like we're trying to resonate with that as well. Like
Yeah.
that's the goal. Like we're starting to understand like how much work it takes, but obviously like getting people on as well like is a huge boost. Would you have like a dream feature? You can't say Porter or Matty-On.
I mean, that's fair. And by
'Cause
the way,
I know you were
I
going to
know
say
we
Porter
know
or
you
Matty-On.
love Porter.
you know, so
Do-do-do-do.
I guess like contrary to belief, everyone thinks like Matty-On's like my number one, and like for you guys who don't know, like I'm a Matty-On stan, so I fucking die. And I've recently like been hanging out with him here and there. See
that's
him at festivals.
Fucking that's
Yeah,
very full circle.
which is
That's
crazy
awesome.
because he's like a god to me.
Yeah.
Creativity, but I will say collab-wise, like his music is so different than mine that a collab like wouldn't make sense. But like that doesn't mean like I don't love his music. I think when you are able to make music that you can't assign a genre to, like you're a god.
Mhm.
You know, and I think like that's to me the pinnacle of like innovation, creativity, artists who deserve like their own space.
Yeah.
Collab
That's what you're putting Matty-On and like Porter in?
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, Matty-On and Porter found them. So how they found each other? I think they were like 12 online on like a forum, and like you know found each other. And like at the time, nobody else was making music. You know, I think if they were releasing the music they made 10 years ago today, it would still like be so innovative.
Yeah.
This is probably way more inspiring for him because I don't know if you've heard, he does not have success with meeting up with people online. So the fact that they've become such an iconic duo out of that,
but yeah,
there's hope. There's hope.
It hurts.
So you said like you're like people that are able to create music where you can't assign a genre to it, like that's like the upper echelon, but like you don't think you guys would mesh together well.
I'm sure we'd make something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we could figure something out.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
if like my manager called me today, it's like, hey, Hugo, Matty,
Of course, you're gonna fucking do it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, yeah, you know, I don't think
I don't
we'd
know,
you know what I mean? Like, of course, I'll fucking figure it out. But honestly, like, there's so many good artists in the space, and I think like one is killing it is like Illenium. Like, I think that like you
He's
know,
going crazy.
it's funny because like
He's been changing his sound too, though.
yeah, and like you know, he came up as kind of like. At first, he went viral. There was like Chainsmoker remixes, and then at one point, you know, he was growing really fast, and it became almost like generic to say Illenium's my favorite artist because like everyone's saying it. But now he's like achieved such a level of fame. He's doing stadium tours. He like you know, he's doing football arenas where like you can't really hate on that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. Like, this guy's the god.
I was fried out of my mind. Like I think it was like the last day of Outside Lands. I saw him for like a second, like right after Post Malone. But I was exhausted, but enough to a point where I was still like vibing, like in the crowd and stuff and everything. So I was like, if you had me doing that when I was ready to just like curl up in a ball and sleep for a week and just straight up hibernate, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I think like those guys like are definitely spearheading because like, EDM in America is still relatively new. Like compared to like Europe, those guys have been going stadium raves for like ever. You know, so like
I mean, like they've been doing that like electronic music for so long, so
Forever.
long. Where like they're
Forever,
actually like testing their drugs
Yeah.
at the fucking
Exactly, dude.
grounds.
Dude,
you know,
it's
took a pill and
crazy.
a
Like
visa.
I've been raving over in
Yeah.
like Amsterdam.
Yeah.
on King's Day, which is like their July 4th. And, like,
Okay.
you're right. Like it's out in the open.
Yeah.
Like, people are just so casually like, would you like some Molly? Or, like,
Yeah.
You know, would you like this? Or if not, we can go get it tested at this tent over here.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
it's so open about it. But you know, I do think that like we're starting to adopt. And understand that like that's a really good mindset to have. Like I think like Insomniac, you know, one of the major festival players,
yeah.
they just started having like testing like tents there. You know, and like I think that like the idea obviously is, you know, buy hella drugs and go get it tested, but it's just like they're gonna do it anyways. You know, I'm gonna be real. I'm not endorsing this, by the way, but it's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, you better be safe.
Safe about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah, I think that mindset that's definitely like, you know, growing over here, especially as music festivals are becoming just like bigger and bigger every day.
So Illenium would be that dream feature then?
Yeah, I think so.
So-
Well, I'd probably be a feature for him. You know, if
Well, right. For sure.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
someone that you do work with though, I don't know if I want to put your business out there,
Sure,
but is your girl who's
Yes.
also into music?
Yeah, so
That's fucking awesome.
my
Talk to us
girlfriend
about that.
Yeah, so my girlfriend Nell is also, a DJ and producer.
Yeah, shout out to Nell. One of the nicest people ever.
I haven't
Yeah.
met her, but shout out to Nell.
So we actually met through the music circle a long, long time ago. Like,
Awesome.
I gotta say, maybe like 5-6 years ago. We met at we were playing at the same show. And I think like,
Was it out here?
no, it was in SoCal. It was like a long time ago. Back in like 2018 or 17 or something like something.
It's crazy that that's a long
Yeah,
time ago.
so
but-
like honestly, like we were just friends for a while. Like, we were friends in the music industry circle for a while. And then, one day we weren't, and that actually started, that was like a pandemic kind of inception thing.
Did you shoot your shot like right off the bat, or how'd that go down?
I mean, like, as like corny as it sounds, it was just like super organic. It was just like,
Or sounds just
I'm at a party and like, there's like 3 chairs, but I'm going to sit like on your chair kind of thing as you were sitting on it kind of thing. And what happened?
It's like you need some help spinning those turntables, baby.
Yeah.
I got the right one.
It's like in mini golf, like when you're like helping with the stroke, but you're right behind. Like actually, if you turn it,
Exactly.
Hey,
Actually, if you just turn the knob like this,
Write that one down. Write that one down.
Let me see what that finger do
That's crazy.
you got to be gentle with it. Like this.
So do you guys like ever perform together?
We have. So
Yeah.
we have a couple years back. I'd say like we independently, we kind of just do our own thing in the music space, and we have a collective of friends who we're together with.
That's fucking awesome.
We have performed together like I think like 2011.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think for now we kind of
2011.
no, sorry, it's 2021. Yeah,
This is like you performed
Sorry.
our sophomore year of high
Back-
school.
You weren't there, bro?
I was like, what did I miss?
So yeah, I think it was like 2021. Yeah, we kind of just have our own independent artist creative, but it works really well. Like I think what works really well is we have like our own space at home. So I have my own studio. So we have a 3-bedroom. We have a shared bedroom, and then her office, my office, and then get out of each other's hairs. all
Does
day.
she have a studio set up too? Because I saw yours. Your studio setup's sick.
I mean, what is a studio, anyways, right? Like,
Yeah, I guess
I mean,
it's
kind of.
true.
So yeah, she has the studio, the Rocket KRK monitors.
Okay.
That I gave her, and that's all. And then she has an interface. That's all you really need:
Yeah.
a laptop, an interface, and a speaker.
And she has a full time. So she like in terms of like splitting
Same
passion,
thing.
also
Same
second
thing.
career with full time. That's fucking awesome.
Same
dude.
thing.
Yeah. And your manager too, right? I remember talking to him. He's working too.
He's a software engineer at Salesforce.
Yeah.
And then he manages a couple of
The
us
whole-
over
the
here
whole
too.
gang.
Does he manage your girl as well?
No.
Does she have her own manager, or is she self?
She's self-managed.
Okay.
Do you feel like your girl ever has any influence on your like creative output?
I mean, that's a fair question. I mean, I definitely like ask for like input and stuff, but I think for the most part, like creativity just like spurs super randomly.
Yeah.
Like I think like the hardest part about production is definitely like, the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But like the second you have an idea, you can knock that baby out. Just grinding it out in a session.
So like, "Die in Your Arms" over 1 million plays on Spotify.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you made that?
That boy
shit is
did his
absolutely
research.
insane.
Yeah. No.
Slap.
Hey, props.
Didn't that
We were
slap?
listening to that shit
Props-
the other
props
day.
to
We
you.
were like,
Absolutely
we were like,
insane.
we were like, why am I about to cry right now?
So, I mean, the song's obviously a very emotional song,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, funny enough, the emotions like didn't come from like love
Trauma
or
or
anything.
anything.
Yeah, it was. I think there was like a Christmas during the pandemic actually that I was just like by myself because I couldn't travel to see family. I think my flight cancellations got lost or something. So honestly, I was just like at home like making beats and just like down bad, just like
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah.
I mean, that is enough of like a reason.
Yeah,
to be, like,
yeah,
just like
yeah.
kind of feeling alone. Like,
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of music inspiration comes from that.
And then it's funny because I had this whole thing, about like I want the song to be about like family, companionship, and like my team was just like, no one's gonna want to listen to you being at home on Christmas by yourself, bro. We gotta make this a love song. It's like, all right, we're making a love song.
Yeah.
So we pivoted, and then that's how "Die in Your Arms" started out.
It's a great song.
It became
man.
a love song, more relatable.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
That shit goes.
It's
Yeah,
super
yeah.
sick.
Hey,
yeah.
something I
And
always
we'll drop all of Martin's music info,
Yeah,
music socials, all that.
yeah, we'll
It'll all be in the
definitely plug it in the
description in the
description.
bio. We'll plug all that.
but
so
I,
if you guys trying to get your cry on,
Yeah.
we got you.
he's got some other non-crying
No,
stuff
for
too.
He's
sure.
got some
Yeah,
bangers.
yeah, he's got some
We-
bangers,
We could
for
call
sure.
it we call it cry banging because one second you're
Cry
like
banging?
crying, the second you're like head banging. The next second, you
Yeah.
never know what you get coming to my show.
Do you have a, do you have a
definitely
song
roller
that
coaster.
you're most proud of? Like
Yeah.
you're like you look back on, you're like,
I mean, they're all his babies.
For
probably.
sure. I mean,
It's
yeah.
tough. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think that the one I'm most proud of hasn't happened yet.
Hell yeah.
Because they're all so different.
That's
you know?
a hard ass
Yeah.
answer.
You know, because they're all so different. And like, I think like, again, like I started my career thinking I'd be the next Kygo making Tropical House, you know? And so like, I'd like to think hopefully, you know, whatever artist direction I take, I'm like still kind of keeping my story consistent. But you know, my music could sound completely different in 5 years. And by the way, like I definitely think artists should be doing that. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I think like the hardest thing in this day and age to be innovative is like you can either go two ways. You know, fans would be like, "Oh, that shit slapped. That was so innovative," but like sounds kind of similar. Or people can be like, "Oh, you're not innovating enough," and they want to hear the same thing, right? But if they go too innovative, then it's just like,
Yeah,
It's like
ahead of your
stay in your
time.
lane.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
would you hear it?
What
Or
would
like the fans want to hear a certain thing.
exactly. So
Based on your
it's super
catalog,
hard to
right?
like
Yeah.
cater to everyone's palate because like the spectrum is so different. It's just like, oh, it doesn't sound like you, or oh, it's too innovative, or
Mhm.
oh, it sounds like the same shit.
Yeah,
So what would you
exactly.
say to someone that maybe is like, let's say they have this new sound that
Yeah.
they've tried out and none of us have ever heard it. No one's heard it. But
Sure.
in their head, like that's that. But like that's a very valid kind of fear to have where it's like, I can put this out there, but this is just not at all what people. Like,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone to be like, find that medium of like being able to put it out there to where it's like, you know, fucking listenable, essentially.
Yeah, I
but
mean-
while also like not losing an ounce of like their individual creativity and like giving them the courage to like put this shit out there, probably set themselves up for this shit is ass right off the bat. So people
Yeah.
really find out and they're like, wait, this kind of goes. Like, what is this?
Like, first of all, I think like everyone starts off making ass music. That's a fact. Everyone sucked at one point. No one started making music production
Rob's
good,
first
right?
verse,
Like,
yeah, Rob's first
everyone
verse,
sucked at
yeah.
some point.
Everyone did something for the first time at one point.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it's
And it's funny. 'Cause I tweeted like a couple of weeks ago. And it was like, shout out to when we all sucked, and everyone was like, "What are you talking about, bro?" I'm like,
yeah.
everyone sucked at one point. That's
Yeah.
a fact.
We didn't even,
Absolutely.
we never released our first episode when we were filming because we were like, we watched it back and immediately we were like, yeah. And then we looked after, we're like,
We were like, damn, we're
that shit was
sad.
ass.
But like that's also like the producer's mindset. Like, you know, the second I drop a song, I'm just like, fuck, I should have changed that. Or like
Yeah.
this and that. And
Yeah.
and my note to that is just put it out, man. Like if you don't put it out, I know so many, you know, incredible producers who are starting out who are just like, it's not the perfect one yet. I'm like, if you
Yeah,
never
it'll
release this
never-
one, you're never going to drop the second one. You're never going to have the third one.
For sure.
So you just got to put it out and,
And
just
you
like,
have to learn from like, not necessarily like letting the feedback impact you,
Yeah.
but like you can choose whether or not if it's constructive to you.
yeah,
how you
exactly.
wanna
And like you
implement
have to like at least from a producer standpoint, you have to make music for yourself first.
Absolutely.
You know, like obviously you want to cater to your fans and
Yeah.
whatnot, but keep in mind like I'm making music that I wanted to hear in
Yeah.
the first place, and the fact that people are resonating with it is just a huge plus.
Yeah.
That's everything.
On that
dude.
vein,
Yeah.
I've heard of artists like they've made a song or they produced a song and they're like, "Fuck, I really don't like this music," but they put it out and it's been their like most wildly
Yeah,
successful song.
totally,
Yeah.
totally, and that's the whole thing. You know,
Yeah.
you never know how people will receive music.
Mhm.
I
Has that
think-
happened to you? Where there was a song that you made that you were like, "I don't want to put this out," and you put it out and it actually did numbers?
Luckily not yet, because
Yeah.
like I'd say any song that you hear that like comes out
Mhm.
has probably been like locked in for the past half year minimum.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
so like
Yeah.
it takes a while for market. I don't think people realize like how much like marketing and PR and preparation it goes.
Mhm.
Like at a bare minimum, just to submit your music for like the Spotify editorial stuff
Mhm.
has to be a month.
Oh wow!
And then prior to that, like there's like the label process where like you shop around with labels. Labels have their own schedule. That's
Mhm.
typically like, okay, our first release date is like 6 months out kind of thing.
Mhm.
So from there in the 6 months, you have to like plan on like all of like the launch.
Mhm.
I think that like a lot of artists these days are too afraid to like promote themselves. Like I think like people get shy to like reshare their stuff on Instagram and whatnot. They think that you drop a song, post a story, and you're good.
And then
you know what
that's
I
it,
mean?
right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's
But
a
like,
lot more.
like, I'm out here, you know, still promoting stuff from like a year ago.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that
For sure.
once you get over that fear of like honestly promoting yourself, then like your kind of creativity, what you allow yourself to do, you know, flexibility wise, will definitely expand.
yeah.
Mhm. What are like some like golden tidbits you can give about like marketing your music?
That's a good one. So I think in today's, you know, day and age, streaming is like obviously everything,
Mhm.
and like the key to that is playlists. Like you get on
Mhm.
Like the
playlists.
Spotify.
Oh, you gotta get
curated
on
ones.
it.
Exactly,
You
like
gotta get on those
playlists. I mean,
playlists.
there's like Spotify generated ones, and there's also like
Yeah.
you know user generated ones.
Yeah.
Something that is obviously a huge winner that I'm personally not very good at is like social media too. Like if you can get your music viral on TikTok, Instagram,
Like a
like
trend or something.
exactly.
For
I mean,
sure.
any
Yeah.
popular song you hear on the radio today is probably found it on TikTok.
100%. That's
And like,
my aux cord's broken in my car, so I've just been
yeah,
on music for the last I've just been on the radio for the last 3 weeks.
it's just everything on
Man,
TikTok.
it's like,
but it works
it's
well.
all the songs I heard on TikTok. I'm like,
It works well because our attention spans are so small these days
Yes,
that like all you
yes.
need is like 6 seconds of that, and then you hear it, you're like, oh wait, that was kind of catchy. Then you hear it on like 10 more TikTok back to back to back, same
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
So that yeah, I feel like a lot of the younger generation definitely has like the TikTok, Instagram figured out. Just capitalize on that.
I mean, you're doing well. I mean, from like what we saw, you have about like 55,000 monthly listeners, which is no small feat. It's very
Yeah.
impressive. So like whatever formula that you have, like keep iterating on that and keep doing it. But you're definitely doing your thing.
So thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
we've seen you since we were kids. So
the algorithm is a scary thing. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
that. Like the
We're
algorithm is
seeing
a
that.
scary
we
thing.
try to decode it every single day, and then like as we try to like talk about stuff in the algorithm, we're like,
Dude, it's
we just remind ourselves at the end of the group chat, right? Like we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Like no one knows. How this,
it's so
no
funny.
one
'Cause
knows
I
how
talk to
this
my
shit
friends
works.
about it all the time, and it's just like one day, a post that has nothing to do with music. You're just like posting your ass cheeks or something, and it gets like 40,000, views, and you're just like sick. And then the next day you
Y'all
post
hear
like dropping your song, and you're just like 2 likes, and you're just like, bro, like, what
you're
happened?
like,
And
damn.
the algorithm's a scary thing, even on Spotify. That's
Yeah.
the thing too, like, because obviously as you accumulate monthly listeners, like I think the momentum grows as you grow monthly listeners, and they basically start recommending your music to people who listen to similar stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when you do that, and like as an artist, you want to evolve, but you drop something completely different, like that, like messes with your
Yeah.
algorithm too.
Back,
So it's a scary thing, man. And honestly, like I don't think anyone has it figured out.
Yeah.
So like the playlist thing, is it like, because we have a boy that he like owned a playlist or something, and he was like charging artists to like get a spot on that playlist. Is
So-
that kind of how it works?
So that's definitely a real thing. That's 100% against Spotify's T&Cs.
Really?
100%. Like if like legally, and they'll say it, like you're not allowed to charge for it, but it's a very real thing.
Yeah.
And I think it depends. I think that like playlisting, if you have like organic, real people,
Mm-hmm.
the playlist will do well. But there's also so many playlists. I mean, you can bot anything. You can bot Instagram followers.
Mm-hmm.
You can bot likes. And I think what people don't realize is like you're only hurting yourself when you do that.
Yeah, because the algorithm can tell.
Yeah, and let's just say
We think
say
so.
Stop doing that.
The-
Rob has this
we think-
Rob
it's
does this thing.
Exactly. People
Rob
can
speaks
tell.
for the algorithm.
The people,
Yeah.
the people can tell. Like,
Yeah,
Let's just
people
say
can tell
you
too.
have 30,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
And I know some pages with like 200,000 followers, and they
Yeah.
have like 5 comments. I'm like, really,
Yeah,
man?
Yeah.
And like, how it's so bad is that now your engagement rate is 5 divided by 200,000.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to recommend your things to anything. And so I think like
Yeah.
a very common thing I see artists do is like, they like pumping their numbers. And that really only just hurts you, man. in the
100%.
long game.
Because it's also about building a community too. So
Yeah.
like you can have that follower growth, but I think like it's just not sustainable. And
Yeah,
like it's
I mean-
also like you can buy those followers, but at the end of the day, like all of that and like gaining that following, like
And if they
what
don't
you're doing,
engage,
if you're
it's gonna
making a
hurt you.
career, it's like
Exactly.
it's also shooting yourself in the foot
Like
financially too.
the
'cause-
algorithm is just going to recommend your stuff to more bots who will never look at your videos.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you guys had like a snippet go viral. I saw. What do you guys think like made that one viral specifically?
it was just some fucking ridiculous story.
I think it was just more
It was
so
just like a wild
yeah,
story.
it
I
was just
think.
more so like
Ridiculous.
as you're watching, and for reference, we're talking about the Rob Tinder swindle clip.
Yeah.
It's pinned on all our socials just because why would we not? I think as you're watching it, the average viewer, from what I've heard from some of my friends that don't know Rob, are like, okay, but he can't get more stupid.
And
Okay,
then it
but
gets
there's
like
worse.
keeps
but
getting
there's
worse.
no way. Okay, but
It
at
keeps
this
getting worse
point,
and
he
worse.
knows this is sketch, and like
Yeah.
there's literally a part where like if you really watch it back, where you would have been like, oh, this is it. Is like when he's like, have you ever seen another guy's dick before? Would you get weirded out? And the fact that Rob says,
I'm down.
maybe, maybe, and I'm like, maybe. And then he's like, when I pull up to the parking lot and it's a little Vietnamese dude, you would think like at that point you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Like
gonna
it's
go
a
home.
setup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home. But to at some point get in this guy's car
Yeah.
and sit, like it's just more so like I think it went viral. It's an anomaly and it's hard
Yeah.
to like put into like
And like speaking about the algorithm, like, what
copyable
works
fo-
so well is like as like it's like an onion unveiling it. People are continuing to watch it, so it's not like people are just like scrolling past it. Like people
Yeah.
are genuinely watching through to find out what happens.
I also think it was like the aspect of there being like a cliffhanger at the end. Like
Mhm.
people want to hear the rest of the story.
should we give him the rest?
No. Shouldn't give the rest.
Half the comments
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
like the clip ends with Rob saying, and I come to realize later, and then like we cut it right there.
That's
'Cause we-
beautiful.
which is
Beautiful.
what we did. We were
Beautiful.
like, "Fuck, should we give him the rest of it?" And we're like,
Nah.
honestly, not because like we didn't even release the full. Because like we said, remember the first.
This
what
was
I
one
said-
that we actually almost didn't put out because there was an issue with some content in the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But we were like, honestly, like it's nothing offensive to anyone other than the fact that like it's offensive to me and Boozy at the fact that we're claiming him as a homie.
To me as a Vietnamese person.
And Martin being Vietnamese.
Me being Vietnamese.
We have a Vietnamese. We have a little Vietnamese dude with a homie with glasses that we describe that Rob like described. So we took a picture where like this is the guy. Like we edited like a little bubble on him, and it's like whip your shit out, which is exactly what the dude said to Rob. It's crazy. No, but I think like it's kind of hard to like for that one in particular to be like this was the recipe for success because like
you never know.
Because well, it's also like an anomaly of like the story itself. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think like there's little things in there like leaving that cliffhanger. Like I mentioned, we had that first episode which we just weren't too proud. We just knew we could do better.
Yeah.
And like the setups enhanced. We figured out like sound enhancement quality.
Yeah.
We upgraded the camera and everything as well too. Just a lot of stuff's been upgraded. But like that story in itself, we're figuring out a way.
I mean,
to get
that's
this
my
one out
point
there.
though. Like, you'll never know which one to go viral. So, like,
Yeah.
as a creator, I think you just
Just
gotta
make
keep
stuff that
pushing
you
shit
like,
out.
And that's
you know?
too,
Crank
like,
shit
and that's
out.
what we keep reminding ourselves.
Yeah.
Is like we got to do what we think is funny or what we're proud of, and like from there,
Yeah.
like that's exactly what the mindset was with that one. And as long as we keep doing that, like, and same I'm sure goes with music as well. Like if you listen to it, like you've seen success in what you've done and what you've thought you're proud of.
Yeah.
So as long as you continue to do that, regardless of how it performs, you can look back on it and be like, "This was dope."
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud of
totally.
And I think at the end of the day, like you have to have that. Like
Yeah.
you have to
Oh,
have
yeah.
like your own personal like
You have to make
no
it for yourself.
regret. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of perfectionist syndrome definitely can. It's hard to knock that.
But as an artist, like one of the beautiful things is you get the opportunity to like write your own narrative.
Yeah.
No one gets to
100%.
speak for you. You're literally whatever you want to put out is exactly what you want to put out,
Exactly.
and let it say what you want it to say. And people can always interpret art differently because art is ultimately open for interpretation. But
yeah.
you're still writing
Super
your own
subjective.
narrative.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think like building a narrative is a big one. I think that like I definitely try to be super authentic, like with my posts, my music, and like if I meet someone in real life, I want it to make it as if like I'm the same person they thought they knew.
Yeah,
online,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that comes from not trying. And, like if you know what I mean, because like if you're just and you've always been that way, like you've
Being
always
authentic.
been like very like shamelessly yourself, as all of us I
Yeah.
think are, which I think is a good thing. I think like if you try, like I don't know, I mean you definitely have way more experience in this. Do you ever have to find yourself like trying to remain yourself?
So I mean, I
If
think
that makes sense.
Yeah, no. I think let's just say like if I'm at a show, one of my own shows, and like there's a fan that wants to meet me at a show, or I'm at another friend's,
Yeah.
and I mean like I think I do definitely put in a little bit effort beyond kind of being myself to make sure that they feel like they're
Fulfilled or
fulfilled
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
So
like,
like
oh, this was just a dude.
it's not like it's not like I'm just dapped up and be like, it's good, man. I'll see you later. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
you don't want to act brand new.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, I always will ask them like how the event's going, if they're having a good time.
That's fucking
like,
awesome. And it's also a
do you
little
wanna
bit for
take a
yourself
shot
too,
kind of
huh?
thing,
Yeah,
exactly.
I was gonna ask, like, what is your favorite fan like meeting experience?
Yeah, let's get crazy.
Oh man. Okay. So we can get crazy, but let me talk about the genuine.
Okay, so
Yeah,
genuine.
yeah,
Yeah, let's get wholesome before.
So the genuine was
Buckle it.
I was I forgot what show I played at. It was in I played some show in California, and my Madion loving fan ass flew to New York to catch a Madion show.
The next day?
Literally the next day after seeing Madion the previous week.
And was this
Have
before
you
you
wait?
met
Just
him?
real quick. Sorry to interrupt. Now that you guys are homies,
Yeah.
like now that you have that relation, have you told him any of this shit? Like how much of like a without like you're not trying to be like, oh my god, I know we're boys, but I fucking love you. But like, does he know
I
kind
would
of like
say
the level
us
of
being
respect?
boys is an overstatement. I've met him and had conversations.
Okay.
Okay.
So like more of an
multiple times.
acquaintance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So like we're at the point where like, if I see him, I'll be like, "What's up, Hugo?" and he'll like recognize me.
All right, Hugo, come out.
And like, I wish, right? But yeah, I mean, I think like
Just play the beat.
I fanboy just as hard as anyone else would, and
Yeah.
I try to like keep
Of course.
cool kind of stuff. So like, I go into those conversations like with like 3 questions, like, what am I gonna ask him? Which sounds super like planned.
No, but that's
but it's like you're
smart.
trying
you don't want to
genuinely do
waste.
that.
You don't want to
Yeah.
waste
I
that moment
genuinely
either.
have
Yeah.
like scenarios planned. And so the story is basically, I forgot what show I was playing at. I believe the next day I flew to New York to catch Madion. We pull up to the event. Madion's on like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. And the line is at Terminal 5 and it's wrapped like around the fucking block. Just like there was no way I was seeing Madion. And so like, I'm like depressed, like walking up the line, like, do I know anyone? Do I know anyone? Just like slowly
Yeah.
being sneaky about it.
Yeah.
And then some guy's like, Muse. literally
that's
calls
sick.
me out, and he was like,
Let's
"I was
go.
at your show yesterday. Can I get a photo?" And I literally was like, "Can I bring up 10 friends right now?" We cut the entire line.
Wait,
Like
you
I'm not
busted
even
the move with 10 friends on that same
literally.
flight?
I was like, "I got 10 friends. Like, can I get them up?" And I traded him for a photo.
Yeah.
That's hard.
so-
hell of a trade.
but like at the same time, I got to hang out with this guy. You know,
For sure.
We chopped it up. And
so
literally,
sick.
just by sheer luck, some guy who was also a mega Stan fan like me flew across the country to catch Maddie on.
That's fucking
That's
dope. He was on the same time
You guys
as you.
probably on the same flight.
Who was at my show the day before. And then
That's insane.
That's
yeah,
so cool.
Yeah. so I saw Maddie on. I was super happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's that's looking back like one of the most fulfilling moments. And like I even posted. I didn't catch his Instagram, but I basically posted like, you know, whoever you were, like, hit us up. We'll get you backstage passes to like whatever show you want.
Did he ever hit you up?
No, actually,
Damn.
no.
That's
So
fucking
he's still out
crazy,
there.
though,
It's
dude.
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, or maybe he didn't see the story,
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
possible.
but it was a really nice moment. But literally, it wasn't just me. It was like we had 10 people.
Yeah.
They just like mobbed up me.
Did all 10 of-
what were the reactions of the people directly behind dude?
I mean, it was like it wasn't like a thin line. It was like mobs of people, and so like I'm sure there was some
Tried to do
like
it
what's going on
nonchalantly.
about it. For the most part, like it works just fine. Like no
Yeah.
one out or anything.
Yeah.
We got in just in time.
So
So
that's
what
a
was the-
wholesome.
yeah, what
Yeah,
was
that's a wholesome,
the
and
other
that's
one?
obviously, first of all, just address that right off the bat. That's
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And that's also got to be like a whoa, like
Yeah,
It's like, this is what I
Recognize-
do it for.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is what I do it
like,
for.
and it's always funny. I'd say like, you know, I think like, you know, I say the word fans a lot, but genuinely, it's just, I see them as people who like help my music career grow.
Yeah.
sure.
But I will say it is really fun though, like being out with like my friends and stuff. So like, for example, the biggest beneficiaries aside from myself and me doing this entire music thing, my friends.
for sure.
My friends are the ones who go to concerts for free. My friends are the ones who drink for free.
Mhm.
Sure.
My friend's the one who gets a cut in line because I played somewhere like across the country.
You
Yeah.
gotta start hanging out more.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been that friend a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
More so like early
Once,
days.
weren't you at Heineken tent a couple times too?
So I did Heineken at Outside
at
Land.
Last-
Outside
this
Land.
past
That's
year.
when we saw. That's when we
Yeah.
pulled up.
Yeah,
on.
so that was a fun one. So like that was an interesting one because my sets, I'd say typically it's an hour to hour, like 15 minutes. It's like a good
Yeah.
time. My Heineken one was an hour and 45 minutes.
Yo, Outside Lands is huge. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
sick, dude.
it's sick, man.
Yeah,
So it's an
it's
hour
sick.
45.
Have you done the Coachella ones too?
I did the K-Rock Coachella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
tell
So
your
that was
story.
Or
good
that,
time.
that
Yeah,
little
yeah,
that
yeah.
little dome at Coachella. I remember going to that.
Yeah, exactly.
With Raymond, right?
Raymond might have been
Raymond
there.
might have been
I know
there.
Corny was there.
Yeah, I mean,
Raymond's our
Um,
friend.
it's
Raymond's
gotta be
one
like
of our
4 or
other
5,
boys.
so shout out Raymond.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's nice with it.
but yeah, OSL. It
Yeah,
was a
OSL.
funny thing because like it was like really hot at Outside Lands. It was like this year was like sunny, no clouds. It was just hot all day.
Yeah, it was nice.
And so like again, it's an hour and 45 minute set, which is a pretty long time for me. When I'm used to like an hour 15.
Mhm.
So basically,
You were getting
About,
out
like-
drinks.
yeah,
I remember this.
about like 45, 50 minutes in, I'm like, it's like really hot. So like, you know, we start chugging drinks aggressively. And I'm not talking water, like
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
else but water.
Mhm.
And about
You are in the Heineken house.
about an hour and 15 minutes in, I'm like, oh fuck, I really gotta go to the bathroom. And like, I had this weird dilemma that I've never had where I had to go to the bathroom so bad, but I was also super fucking thirsty because of the sun. And my answer was just keep drinking beer.
Yeah.
Keep drinking beer. And like, there was definitely a moment, like an hour and 35, I was like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm about to run out to the crowd, but like book it and go to the bathroom in the back.
Yeah.
And basically just decided against it. But literally never had that problem before because my sets are not usually that long.
Yeah.
And then I developed a kidney stone.
Yeah, no, literally.
Have you ever been too fucked up to perform?
It's a good question.
That's a valid question.
No, it's okay.
I just love that. I love your response.
good question.
It is a good question.
So like, okay, people always ask me. I think the more common question would be, "Are you fucked up when performing?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would never start a show like drunk because like there's just at this point so much on the line with my career.
Yeah.
Would you ever start a show
Um,
sober though?
What was that?
Would you ever start a show sober?
I've
though?
never done a show like completely sober. So like,
It's all
I'd
about
say
the
like
healthy medium.
I always start like with a couple of drinks.
A little
Pre-game
loose with
and
the
stuff.
goose.
Yeah,
Little
a
loose
little
with
bit
the
in,
goose, yeah.
as most DJs do. Start with a couple of drinks, and then I'd say kind of throughout the night goes, depending on the crowd, depending on the engagement, we'll basically drink throughout more set. And like, I think like, you'll know when I'm drunk when I instigate the crowd, like, hey, take a shot, everybody. Or, like, literally, like, I'll get to the point. It doesn't happen often.
Everybody chug your fucking drinks. Have you
But-
have you said the one-liners like make some noise if you're here with your best friend today?
I have. Oh yeah. Like, yeah.
You know what's the worst is when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in that crowd, but like you get split up from like your main homies,
Yeah,
and
you're
like you're with like one of the
damn.
random homies because y'all just had to pee together, and like you're making your way back, but it's just you two there, and it's just
Yeah.
you two. And it's like make some moves here with your best friend tonight.
Yeah.
You look at dude like. You know, I still.
exactly.
I fuck with you though.
Exactly.
You made some awkward
All the
moments for
time,
some
man.
people
All
out
the
there
time.
for sure. Or
Yeah.
people that are just starting out in a relationship, like make some noise if you're here with your love of your life tonight. It's like we like each other.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he making noise?
Dude, there's
It's
so
like
much
this is my second time hanging out with her. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much
Oh.
that happens. There's so much that happens in the crowd, like as a performer. I don't know if you always get the opportunity to see what's going on. Like, have you ever seen anything from like the performer's perspective where you're like, wow, this is
yeah,
absolutely
like
insane
you mentioned the
what's
cry banging
happening? Yeah.
earlier. Like,
We had
Yeah.
the wholesome fan interaction.
So,
What's the craziest one?
I would say generally, like, I'm not staring at fans because I'm more focused on like transitions
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah.
And like for the most part, like when I'm performing, it honestly becomes like kind of a big blur.
Mhm.
But
Adrenaline?
yeah, I mean like a big blur of like a sea of people, right?
Oh, got it. Okay.
But it's not like I'm not looking at. So let's just say like
you're not looking at like
if the
one
crowd is
particular-
feeling it, like the whole blob's moving. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like
yeah,
like
yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
everyone's
one-
raving,
the whole blob.
everyone's
The blob.
headbanging. You know, and some people like go crazy. Some people like get off on each other's like
Get on their
you know,
shoulders.
Something. It gets crazy, man. It gets crazy at my
Yeah,
shows.
When's your next show?
Yeah. So my next show is actually in 3 weeks in the Bay, actually.
Okay.
So I'm
This
playing at,
podcast will probably be out by the time, or
This will come
right
out on
before.
this should come out on the 13th. So
Yeah, so my show's on the 24th.
Okay.
But so this is actually a really special show. So it's a special show because it's where we grew up in
Hometown show.
Sunnyvale.
hell yeah.
So
like a
it's always
homecoming.
fun. Exactly, it's always
Yeah,
fun having
homecoming.
a really tight home crowd who all loves music.
For sure.
It's also my birthday.
Oh
Yes,
shit.
So
Nice.
so,
It's gonna
so
be
I have
wow.
it very strategically planned where I'm gonna go on at like 11:40
Okay.
and like 20 minutes in, basically just pause the music and just make. I don't know. Try to get like a video of the fattest round of club shots or something.
You gotta have
Yeah.
one of the homies
So-
do it instead. So it's like, we're gonna stop real quick. It's Muse's birthday.
Yeah. So something crazy like that.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1 countdown.
Exactly.
Would be crazy.
And then be like, let the owners know, by the way, at 12 a.m., I'm about to make you hella bank. So, cut it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Cut the check.
But I'm for real. You know what I mean? So that'll be fun. Yeah. So I'm super excited for that one. And Piers is a super sick venue. I've played there once before.
Curious sick. Huh?
Oh, you're performing at Pure.
Yeah, the one, that's
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
Boozy and I have been up here a couple times.
I'm gonna be up here in a few weeks to go see DJ Esco for my
Coolest DJ in the
birthday.
motherfucking
Yeah.
world.
That's fucking sick. That's
Yeah,
huge, dude.
yeah.
That's so sick.
So it's funny because like growing up in Cupertino, like
Wow.
imagine having that like being
Yeah.
conceptualized in that place even existed in the South.
Yeah.
Bay, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
It's a wild club, a lot of production, but like being from the area, it's not something you would expect from that area.
Lights
Yeah,
are go
for
crazy.
sure.
It's crazy. Yeah.
When getting a venue like that, does your manager help you with that, or did you like you're like, I want to perform at Pure. I'm gonna find any way that I possibly can to get there. How does that
Yeah,
work?
so I guess we can talk bookings, how that
Yeah.
works. Like generally, as you progress, you gain a manager who helps you with kind of your day to day business.
Mm-hmm.
You have an agent who helps you with just like any monetization opportunities, booking shows, brand deals, etc. But right now it's just me and my manager, so he's kind of doing a double role with being the agent. So he helps me work with and basically find these opportunities. And a lot of it, I'd say, it's probably a very good mix of inbound and outbound. So a lot of it's outreach. But we have a lot of history playing in the Bay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a very hard case to make. And then he filters all the inbound stuff as well.
That's a massive accomplishment, man. Anyone that's like familiar with like Bay Area like club scene knows Pure is like one of the top spots. So like that's huge.
It goes, man. It'll be a
sick.
fun time.
Yeah.
So I'm amped. If you guys are around, definitely come full up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
should be
100%.
Yeah. You also played this is not your first headlining show either. You headlined one out here.
No,
Right?
so
You
yeah,
headlined
so
one at YOLO, right? You also headlined one in New York.
had one in New York.
Yeah.
New York was so New York was like 4 weeks ago. Played in LA 2 weeks ago, and then now have a couple of weeks break. Super appreciated break from now until the next
Hell
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have your full-time job too?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say break, like I just meant doing a show. Like I'm still
Like, so we working.
from now
Yeah.
from now until I think I have 1 weekend off from now until Coachella. Like 'cause if I'm not performing, I'm going to a friend's show.
Yeah.
If the friend's not performing, we have to go network with meeting somewhere. And like I shit you not when I say I probably go to 2 to 3 events a week, like
you ever-
concert music.
Do you ever
events.
perform at like afters?
Yes. So I'm all the time. I mean,
Talk to us about that.
I mean, I'd say afters is like much more chill, obviously, right? It's like, first off, you have to, not all afters have like just a DJ kit set up. For the most part, it's just somebody on an aux, you know? But yeah, I think afters are super fun because at that point, like everyone's just like, you know, vibing for whatever the reason, you know, and they're vibing, and like at that point,
Probably exhausted also.
kind of, it's like physically exhausted.
Physically, but like mentally, you're
still,
like,
going at
it's
it.
7 p.m.
Yeah,
It's like 3:30 in the morning.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, if I think that like call them crackhead hours, right?
It's 100% the.
yes.
It is
It's a
100% the
scientific
appropriate
term.
Yeah,
Scientific term. Crackhead hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that those obviously happen. And then if there's DJ stuff happens, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Do you have like a city or like a specific show that stands out to you that's like for whatever reason in your head like the most memorable, but like I'll just use a different word. Do you have like the fucking craziest show you've ever performed at?
I mean, okay.
Just we'll go with most memorable.
I mean, I think for me, definitely my hubs are like California. So like anytime we do a show in the Bay Area or LA, which is just our biggest fan base, and it'll always do well. But typically the bigger the crowds, the more the liability. I've had shows in LA where like people literally like get so drunk and try like running on stage and just like get like tackled by the fucking security guard.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you should be in the NFL, bro. Just like literally just like knocking people.
Yeah.
So there's a mix of that. I'd say as far as memorable goes, I just, shout out to all my California shows because all my California fans just always pull up so hard.
All the Muse fans watching. You're not forgotten.
Exactly. But I always love, like, New York was really fun. New York, by the way, different beast. Like they start pregame at like 11:30 p.m. Like
They open all night. That's
They're
why.
on
They
Pacific-
literally
they're on
do not-
PS They're on Pacific Standard Time.
Exactly.
It's only
They
8:30
literally
over
don't
here.
start like they have dinner at like 9 p.m. They're like, all right, pregame starts at 11:30 p.m. Get to the club at like 2. After starts at like 5 a.m. And you're just like, all right.
That's different. In San Francisco, shit's closed.
That's true. That's true.
It's tomorrow.
But San Francisco has like a huge music scene. I think like it's
For
super,
sure,
it's super
yeah.
underrated. Like people don't realize how many venues and how many just events there are in San Francisco. It's like you can probably find like 7 different concerts on any given night.
I also think it's super dope. Just quick sidebar. I think it's super dope that you've done it a couple times, like today, like since we started recording. That you've instead of saying like my favorite, even though like you are a solo artist, you said you refer to it as like we or our, and
Yeah.
like, referencing your team as well. Like
I'll-
I think that's super dope. I think
Yeah,
that's super dope.
and I'll always say we. And I stand by that. I think that like a misconception is like the artist is the entire brand. Right?
Yeah.
But like if you think about it, like let's put it into tech company terms. Right? We're all tech people here. I'm just the product. Like there's the marketing, there's like the legal, my manager, and there's like the branding, the aesthetics. There's so many aspects of the Muse project beyond just like me. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, I just think it's dope
and so
to like
it's a huge
be,
team project. Yeah.
I think a lot of people like I don't hear that too often.
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
like solo artists.
And I'll stand by that.
We
man.
on this,
It's
so
a group
like-
effort.
Yeah,
Definitely
no,
a group
I
effort.
think that's super dope.
And the team is like We Dream Worlds. and, like-
No, it's just me and Julian, like us two.
Okay.
So Julian's a part of another organization called We Dream World, and they do like they do like event promotions, some artist management stuff as well.
Okay.
But as far as like the Muse crew, it's me and Julian, and like we have a lot of like people who I'd say like are regulars who help us with media and stuff.
Yeah.
Just stay consistent.
Yeah. And then what's BTO?
So BTO is an artist collective I'm part of, and it's basically just the mentality there. It stands for better than one. The idea there is that the music industry in general is just like super cutthroat and competitive, and it's as a small person in the industry, it's very hard to grow. And so instead of competing with each other, why not collaborate with 20 artists who are kind of like in the same place as you are, and propel yourself up that way. And that's how it started. And then I think it's come a long way. So it basically came, initially with just kind of a group of SoundCloud DJs, and now we're doing sellout shows across California together.
So you guys like perform together in like the same lineup?
Yeah, so
or,
I would say like we
do like back to backs or something.
exactly.
Like that?
So we
Yeah.
perform together as BTO, but all have our independent artist careers as well. So it works out really well. Like basically, you can think of like anytime there's a BTO show, it's just like a reunion kind of a showcase thing. And then outside of that, we're all doing our own shit.
Gotcha.
We got BTO and we got BTP right there.
BTP right there. Exactly.
BTO, BTP. Peep the new canvas, by the way.
What are you most excited about, like, next? I know you said, like, you haven't made
Yeah.
that next level song because you always believe that you're striving to do better, but I'm curious to hear that.
So, I mean, I genuinely feel like I'm finally now connecting with a lot of my fans and a lot of my listeners, and I think that, like, if you had asked me kind of 6 years ago where the Muse project would go, I would have never told you I'd be where I am today. And it's hard to think about like what's happening in 5 years because like I'm sure to be very different than what I think of it today.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I think now that I have traction, monthly listeners, a very devout fan base, it's continuing to push content and capitalizing on that fan base, and then growing it. I think
that's so dope.
I think like yeah, exactly. Obviously talking with festivals, and honestly further legitimizing it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that fan base,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
so with that fan base, you mentioned dudes recognize you right outside.
Yeah. By the way, my fan
what-
base is like 75% dudes.
Okay, wait, let's wait.
Instagram.
Let's wait 1 sec till that passes. 'Cause
That's fine. They can't hear it.
You don't think that's gonna pick
Yeah,
up?
it's fine.
Oh, my bad.
You good?
Okay, you said so. I'm sorry. You said
No,
your fan
I was
base
gonna say it's okay. So shout out to my fan base, by the way. But according to Instagram, so if you go on Instagram like professional, you get like all of demographics,
Yep.
so, like who's
Yeah,
looking,
yeah.
the age. My core market allegedly is 76% male, and like the age group of like 20 to like 34.
Yeah, smaller sample size for us, but we got a lot of dudes.
It all started with 100 dudes in choir class.
Exactly. That's what I'm
It
saying.
used to be 100%.
So it sounds like
Exactly.
it sounds like there's a remaining 24%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What them DMs
or-
looking like?
Yeah. Do you have groupies?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I know you live with your girl and everything.
I
now,
mean,
but back in your heyday,
I'm sure you show her and shit.
I
like-
think okay. So I think there's groupies in the sense where there's like genuine fans who I'll see at every single show. Have a lot of love for them.
Yeah.
And they'll be like super respectful. And then there's a group. I'd say there's a couple of other groups. There's definitely every single show. Like if you go into like my DMs, without fail, there'll be like a plethora of people who are DMing me like, hey, love your music. Saw you're in my city. Can I get guest list? And then you click on the profile and they're not even following me. And I'm just like, but it's funny because I'll always defer to Julie and be like, please reach out to my manager. Please reach out to my manager. And I'll just defer
you
that
reply
way.
though. That in itself
it
is more
depends.
than what most. Yeah.
I try to respond to everything. So like even if it's like it's getting tougher. Like after the show, there's like 100 stories to like go through. I'll at the very least like respond to them to
Like
like
'em.
yeah to make
Swipe
sure
up
that I
love.
saw it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the other tier though? I think you said there was a third one.
Yeah. so there's
This
definitely
girl's
a
trying to get
third tier
chose.
where I would say like there groups of people who are more aggressive towards the DJ population.
They're trying to get chose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not like me specific. I'm
Doing it
sure,
to
I'm sure that is with
everybody.
every
Okay, but
single
there's
DJ.
got to be some you specific though. You've always been a ladies' man since I've known you. Respectfully, no.
Respectfully.
Y'all gonna get my man sleeping on
Yeah,
the street.
I mean,
It's
I'll
a
tell you
tame
what.
lion.
I think that
sleeping
like
in his studio.
in a way, I'm super glad that my
Choose an
music
office.
career is where it is today at the age I am today.
For sure. I
Because
think that's
if
a
I
good way
started this and if kind of where I am now, out of college, I'd probably be a menace. Not gonna lie, just full respectfully, I'd probably be a menace.
Yeah.
And so like I'm super thankful that like nowadays when all that stuff happens, all the noise, like I don't really care about it as much. But I can definitely see it, for a young single man out of college being a problem.
So your girlfriend has a following as well.
She does, yeah.
Does she have guys sliding in the
Oh,
DMs
I'm
like
sure.
that?
I'm sure. I mean,
Is that something you guys like talk about ever?
I mean,
Like laugh because obviously you guys are comfortable.
Even
in
girls
it.
that aren't DJs got guys.
yeah.
sliding in their
I mean,
DMs.
if you're a female, you're getting DMs.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a fact, and like I think
She has a bigger platform to be.
do
DM'd.
we laugh about it? Like no, I mean I'm not gonna be like look at all those dudes in your DM, ha ha. You know what I mean? But like it's just like like damn your DMs.
Just reply with a selfie of you.
But like it's
Refer to my manager.
it's not yeah exactly. So it's not like I'm soliciting all of them,
Yeah.
but you come like I mean you have a girlfriend. I'm sure if you go through her DMs, you're not gonna be the happiest camper, or maybe you will be. Who knows?
You won't.
No.
You won't be.
Why are you so confident?
Yeah,
I just know how the DMs be.
yeah. It's a dark place. Like I mean, it's a dark place for me. I can't imagine being a dark, being a female. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just gotta accept it. It's not like she's soliciting all these DMs. Like they just happen. What are you gonna do?
Have you seen has there been like a show like specifically in person, like fuck the social media in
Yeah.
person where like someone's just like throwing themselves at you like, oh my god, Muse, have my children.
I mean, if it happens,
Or
like,
something
I mean, if
along
it happens,
those
I mean, it definitely happens like at like club environments when everyone's hammered.
Yeah.
I've never been at like a Chipotle. They're like, oh my god, Muse, have my baby. You know what I mean? Like
Free
like-
guac. Free extra guac.
like, would you like some of my guac? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, guac's extra.
So I mean, it definitely like happens in like the places you would expect to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm definitely not out
Damn,
of
they're
place.
not pulling up on you in Chipotle yet.
Yeah, not yet, man.
That's when you
When
know
they're
it's
asking for
needed.
that,
That's the next
when they're
benchmark.
asking for a sour cream on the side, you know, like it'll be a different, it'll be a different Chipotle experience.
It's not sour though.
Oh, you've been eating pineapple. No, but yeah, hopefully no one's asking you to nut in a cup.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
All right. What is that?
Yeah, wait, what you? I see you sipping something.
Yeah. So this is Yate.
Okay.
It's a super cool brand that I've been working with, and basically the idea is just a healthier alternative for partying energy. It's an energy drink, and if you think about like what Liquid Death did to like the music industry, it basically made like drinking water sick. Their branding is genius, and I think they're trying to capitalize that same market. When you think about what's existing today, it's just like Red Bull and Monster and all that stuff. And by the way, I love a Red Bull vodka like anyone else, but I think that this is still trying to hit the same market of people who like going out, like active lifestyle, like partying, and then just want something healthier.
Nice.
And it tastes really good too. It tastes like really good too.
Should we find out?
Should
we find out?
Let me know.
I mean, the more you fuck around, the more you find out.
Yeah, the more you find out.
I wonder if that was satisfying.
I'm already drinking coffee right now.
You're gonna be
you would think there's
tweaking.
liquor in this cup.
You're gonna be tweaking.
We had work right before this week.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say
It's really good.
it's fire.
It's really good.
Refreshing.
Fire.
No, that's
Fire.
honestly this is
How
really
much
good.
caffeine's in here?
70 milligrams.
Mark got stats memorized.
I'm gonna
70
be,
milligrams.
I'm gonna be easy because I'm not trying to have heart palpitations.
I feel that, man.
But no, this is
Yeah,
sick.
shout out Yate for hooking it up.
Hell yeah, no, that's awesome.
And to be fair, like I'd say, like I'm not at the place where I'm getting hella sponsorships, but I get enough that like we get to choose which ones we take and stuff, and like I wouldn't be using a product if I didn't actually believe in it. Like
Absolutely.
I get
Feel
so
the
many
exact
like
same way.
I get so many rave influencer or like fake gold chain ones like hey post this fake gold chain, but then I gotta post a fake gold chain. I'm or like I get so many. What's really funny is I get so many like rave clothing brands in my DM, which makes sense. Then I go in there and I just see like pasties and stuff. I'm like what do you want me to do with this? Like,
Never been a fan.
All three of us, we've been shaving our balls for years, and we got Manscaped.
Yeah.
So we feel it.
Yeah.
I think we might know what your ideal sponsor like type would be.
Who to be?
A watch company, like a.
It would be. I mean, I'm a big watch guy.
Let's see. Are we?
You got a little bit of the collection.
Oh, just
So-
get
so
that.
today
wow.
I have
My
a
eyes.
Black Bay 58 on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big watch guy. Huge
Yeah.
watch guy.
You got a little collection, right? Like,
I do. Yeah, I'm a couple of Rolexes, couple of
Just a couple rollies.
yeah.
It's gotta be-
building. I mean, I definitely got into it, recently, kind of later on in life. And it's like the most Martin reason too, is because it's a good investment. And
Yeah.
people say
It's
that.
probably the best performing asset class
like,
as of late.
People don't realize that like you can't just walk into you can't just walk into
This
what
shit
is
is
it
weak, bro.
a
Burberry. This is
retailer.
nice.
a retailer
A retailer.
and just buy Rolex.
Yeah.
You can't walk into Patek or AP and be like, yo,
I
want one. People
Yeah.
think that the biggest barrier to entry of buying a Rolex is having the money to buy a Rolex.
Yeah,
But it's so hard.
not.
Yeah.
It's such a game where you have to like almost interview, and they have to like convince them to sell it to you. Because the moment you buy it at retail, you can go flip it for like 30% more, which is
Absolutely.
crazy how the market is.
Yeah.
And so I got into it. I think I got into it later. I wasn't always big on watches, but I remember it was like when I moved to San Francisco. And it was at like a party in the marina actually. And then just from across the room, I see just like this dude like wrist shining me. I was like, what the fuck is that? He had like a Rolex on. And then I went closer and I was just like, and it wasn't even like diamonds. It was just like, that's what we call like a Jubilee bracelet with a fluted bezel. So there's ridges, but it reflects against the light. So when you flash it, like there's a lot of light movement. And I was like, holy fuck, what is that?
Like everyone's gonna know.
Yeah, the
this.
watch style is
Yeah,
definitely upgraded. I remember you like were strapped with like the classic like any Asian dude in Cupertino, like the brown leather strap.
Yeah.
The brown leather strap
I was
watch.
brown leather strap. I had a Burberry for a long time. It's funny, being from Cupertino, everyone's
Still
like,
have a Burberry.
yeah, everyone was like, why don't you wear an Apple Watch? And like, I'm a diehard Apple guy. Every product until I die, except for the Apple
Hell
Watch.
yeah.
Just because I'm a really big watch guy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite watch?
Ooh.
Okay. I mean, the favorite one that I own is it's called a Batman, which is a GMT Master 2. It's like a blue and black bezel. But I'm hoping, as my wallet size increases down the road, I'll probably be able to get an AP in the next couple of years.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a cheap thing. Like, and it sucks because like you're locking so much money into these watches. But at the same time, like it's funny, like with the stock market crashing last year, in my head I was like, damn, I really wish I had more cash to buy stocks.
Yeah.
But also my Rolex didn't drop like 60% overnight.
Yeah.
And so like in that regard, did pretty well.
What would you say? So, I mean, not to like talk like financial situation
Sure,
by
yeah.
any means, but obviously like having a full-time job, I'm sure helps being able to like come more like without like the stress of like it's make it or break it
Yeah.
with music. What would you say to someone that like is either young or is just in this like part of life or like a phase of life where like they just don't have like that stable income, but they're really trying to like make everything with their music and like time is of the essence for them. What would you like? What kind of advice would you give someone in that type of situation?
So I would say it's really based on your lifestyle. Like I have friends who, live the kind of starving musician life, move to LA, grind and hustle there. And like, if you're satisfied with your means of living and you just feel comfortable, working kind of in the capacity you do, and it funds just you being able to kind of live and make music, all for it. I think for me, first of all, living in San Francisco just costs like a bitch. And I'm sure as you guys
unnecessary
all know,
how expensive
it's getting a little bit better, but it's still like insane.
Yeah.
And so like for me, like having a certain lifestyle, starting off kind of not monetizing music. I mean, at first I was making pennies. Like I can't tell you how many shows where like not only was I not getting paid, like I was forced to like sell tickets to get a slot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like being paid drink tickets or something, or like playing at a crowd where there's two people, including my manager in the crowd, and then we had to try to sell tickets to get there. So it's really very tough to monetize that early on. And I guess like what I would say to people is like if you feel like you're not sure about music, like there's really no reason, in my opinion, to go all in, balls to the wall with it. Explore. I think like for me, I could have very much decided one day, back in 2017, that music really wasn't for me anymore. I'm glad I didn't, but like if I decided that, like I'd still have a tech career, and then I wouldn't be like, what do I do with my life now? But I will say, I'm very thankful for having kind of both, because I don't have to rely on music to monetize it. And while I would love to certainly take the music to the next level in whatever way I can, having kind of a second job or a tech job definitely allows me creative flexibility. It allows me money to buy gear, nice equipment. It allows me to like take creative breaks. Like I'm not forced to just try to churn out music and making streaming. I can choose to be creative about it. And I think that's where people fall into the pit hole. Is like, okay, how do I monetize music and just like push all this stuff out just to try to generate some? And like when you think about building a brand, like that's not how you build a brand.
Yeah, it takes time.
It's quality. Not,
you got to move smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it starts off with quality, and then you get quality and quantity. You can't just start off with quantity with no quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you stay motivated?
Remember that.
It was tough, man. I mean, I think like it was definitely tough, especially like I was mentioned during the pandemic, where you're just in one spot for a while. You just got to remember why you got into it in the first place, man. Like, I think like for me, my mentality was always like, if it ever became work, then like take a step back.
Yeah.
And then I think like celebrating your wins is a big part of it. Every time you get a win, like whether it's like my very first show back in the days, holy shit, you got my first show.
Mm-hmm.
And then like very first show where like my name was actually on the flyer, not like local support. Sick. And the first show I got
like short-term attainable
milestones.
that
And
you
like
can,
every milestone is I would say not anything I like have like on a bulletin, like I'm gonna achieve X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
But as they happen, they're so fulfilling, and they're just like fuck. Like and at the same time, there's such temporary highs too. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You're just like, how do I do that
And then
again?
what's
You're
next?
like,
What's
better.
next?
Yeah.
And people experience that with like, I feel like no matter what it is you do
Anything.
in life.
Which
no
is
matter
fine,
what
though. Which is fine.
What is good? I
It's
mean,
totally
you
fine.
got to stay hungry. And
chasing
I'll
that
say that
high, but
any
you're
day.
just chasing that high, which isn't the worst thing because it's
But staying hungry is important. I'd recommend like you can teach you can teach everything. You can't teach hunger.
Mhm.
So as long as you're hungry, like
that's a bar.
I don't care like what field you're in. Like I'll resonate with you if I know you're a hustler. You know what I mean? If you're hungry, like you can smell that a mile.
100%.
Yeah.
You come a long way since we had to play 1-on-1 for the last starting
I know,
spot
dude.
in middle school basketball.
I mean, you must have beaten me because I definitely didn't get that spot.
I think I remember.
Like,
you know what it was?
I
I was
remember
telling
starting.
Rob I was telling Rob the story earlier, and I remembered it. I think you won the 1-on-1 game, and you ended up getting the starting spot. And I specifically remember you were at the free throw line the first game, and you shot it, and it was dead silent in there, and you knew you missed, and you yelled, fuck. As it is, and the whole stadium started dying. And I was like,
During a game?
yeah, not stadium. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Stadium,
It's probably,
like the gym.
probably what I did.
The
The
gym,
high
and I
gym.
was like, and right after that, he got subbed down. They're like, Ron, I get in there. I was like, yeah.
I mean, that's like I don't remember
It
that.
made
That's
the three
exactly
that I
something
came
I
and
would
missed
do.
immediately after way less
Yeah,
embarrassing.
yeah, that's exactly something I would do.
It's so funny.
But it's funny because looking back, like I remember everyone being the same height playing sports, just because I was on the C team. It was a 5'3" and under league.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
fun.
wow.
So-
Yeah.
C team.
Yeah.
I played C team
It's
sixth
crazy.
grade.
Yeah, looking
Yeah.
back, we're all the same height. It's funny thinking about how is everyone the same height?
How is everyone
So
under
short.
5'3"?
That was
That's
crazy. One of our like shorter friends now, like he's like one. I'm not gonna throw his name out there because that's out of pocket. But yeah, he was had to get cut because he was 5'4" and he couldn't make the team. And like now he's like 5'6". but like we were like, dude, you're a giant, man. Shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this has been fucking awesome. Honestly, I guess we're pulling up to Pure. We're pulling
Yeah,
up-
yeah,
we're
it'll
pulling
be a
up to Pure.
movie.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah.
I mean, it's March now, so I can probably say
Anything
you
at
got
all?
new music coming out. Yeah, got new music coming out this month. Got the hometown show, so if y'all in the Bay Area, pull up. That'd be a fun time. It'll be my birthday. We'll all take shots together.
Hell yeah!
Shout out to Yate for hooking it up.
Shout out to Yate.
Shout out to y'all. I know y'all are killing it. Right when I saw you guys pulling up, I told Rob, get me on a podcast. I'm by no means have a massive following, but I want to support hustle any day. And,
Appreciate that,
If there's
bro.
anything I can do, anyone you guys want to meet, any artist that you guys see I'm hanging out with, let me know. I'm happy to make the connection.
That's
Dude,
appreciate that.
definitely appreciate
Appreciate
that.
that,
And I know
man.
everybody that listened to this got a lot out of what you were saying today
Yeah.
too.
100%. Well, dude, this has been fucking amazing. It feels like it's been way too long since I've
Yeah.
personally seen you.
Way too long,
But
man.
we'll change that. We'll change that for
We'll
sure.
change that. Here
Um,
this week. Or
genuinely-
this month.
Yeah. Genuinely, we appreciate
pull
you
up.
coming out.
Let's pull
Can't
up.
wait to celebrate you at the end of the month. Fucking looks like you got a whole lot more to celebrate.
There's a lot coming. Really excited. Just buckle up, man. It's gonna be a big year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah.
Well,
All
with that, the boy Muse, Martin.
B team.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yes,
you
sir.
guys
Cool.
tuning in for another episode. We'll be back same time, same place next week. But yeah, Martin, thank you so much for pulling up,
It's a
man.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.